Hello guys, in this tutorial we're trying to write tests for a private method. As you can see here, we have a response as error method which is getting called from the store method. We have a user controller, and into the user controller we are calling store method, and this store method sends request to third-party API to register the user and then checking if the response is okay or not, which is returning JSON. Anyway, some developers are not agree with writing tests for a private method because they're saying we should check the side effect of that private method into the public method, so we should write tests for the public method. But maybe you actually don't want to write a test for a public method and you want to only write tests for the private method. The point of this tutorial is just to show you how you can write tests for the private method, which you can see now. Private method that I have wrote is nothing, it's doing nothing really. It's just decoding the response and then it's returning if the response has an error or not. That's it. Okay, so let's start with creating a new class, test class. So I will call it user test. Okay, let me zoom in more, and yeah. So now I need to extend the test case, and here I need to write two scenarios. The first scenario is to check if this response has error method is returning true. So should returns true. And the second scenario is that response has error, should returns false. All right. And okay, so now we start with the first test. So public function response has error, should returns true. All right. So what we're gonna do here is to resolve first the user controller. So we say this app make user controller class user controller, and then we will use here reflection class. Reflection class give you a lot of information about the class that you want to actually do something with it, like for example changing the private method to public method and so on. So here we gonna use the reflection method, so we call it user controller reflection equal new reflection class, and I will pass the user controller to it. And here you will use the user controller reflection to get the method that you want to change the visibility of it. So I will call response has error. Okay, so now user, oh sorry, response has error, and then set accessibility to public, and then response has error, invoke the user controller class with error, and here you can JSON encode it. And definitely should return now true, so we'll say the result is assert true result, result. And if I run the test now, okay, sorry, I forgot to add annotation here. So let's say test see user controller response has error, and if I run that, as you can see, we have one test and one assertion. Okay, now after we wrote this test, we can now continue with the second scenario. The second scenario is that we should actually return false. So the response has error should return false if there were no error into the response. So here, if I remove this error, I am expecting assert false. So now if you run the phpUnit again, sorry, here I should at least have an empty array. As you can see, we have two tests and two assertions. So in this tutorial you have Now figure out how you can basically test the private method. As you can see here, we use the reflection clause, we get the method, we set the accessibility, and then we invoke it with the parameters, with the specific parameters that we should send to it. And yeah, I think that's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.